Hi everyone, and welcome to this reading for the collective using my I Ching, some tarot and some oracle cards. So, Spirit, please channel through me and into these tools messages that the collective need to hear, creating a temporary energetic cord between myself and anyone watching at any point in time to deliver a timeless message, and restoring the auric fields and severing any energetic cords at the close of this reading, wrapping everyone in universal love and protection. Grant me access to everyone's auric field that needs this message. Thank you. Okay, so I think I will create hexagram. I was just going to flick through the book, but I actually am being called to properly create a hexagram. So you can go to the timestamps below for when I start the reading, so you don't have to watch this. It takes a while. Message for the collective. Message for the collective. Message for the collective. Wow, this is crazy. Message for the collective. Oh my goodness. Message for the collective. Okay. I was gonna say that would have been crazy. No one will be watching this bit, but I almost threw all sixes, which is quite an odd one. But I did throw all sixes and 1 8, which is kind of the same, but they change. The sixes change. Don't worry about it. Talking to myself. Right. Okay, yeah. So let's have a look. Yeah. And so, hi everyone for the I Ching portion of this reading. So we actually got like 5 changing lines. So I won't read all the changing lines. I'll just read the first hexagram and then the second hexagram. You can do different things when you get different amounts of changing lines, but I just want this reading not to go on and on and on forever. So first of all, we got hexagram 2. And by the way, we nearly rolled all sixes, which is very, very rare. So that may be significant to someone. I don't know if 6 is a significant number to you. Let me know. So hexagram 2, the receptive. Now I will read relevant bits, but also I get a lot of channeled messages and insight when I do the I Ching usually. So we'll see how it goes. But hexagram 2 is the receptive. And it says, bear with everything as the earth bears with all that lives on it. So this is thinking about the element of earth and mother earth, Gaia, nature, soil as this kind of nurturing element that withstands a lot, that is patient and is sort of receptive, basically. So it's remaining receptive, remaining open, even when there are kind of difficult situations at hand or people are being difficult. It's sort of remaining open to them, thinking about the feminine principles. Now, this is not gender specific, it's just in terms of energy, this idea of receptivity, this idea of being open to someone. The nurturing principle, this represents the essence of the creative principle, and it represents the female in its cosmological sense, and the female attributes in nature. So this kind of idea of absorbing, silent, dark, nurturing, earth power. If you think about the cosmos as this darkness that creates this light, this darkness from which life is born, this fertile, phonic, substrate, this idea of dirt and earth as being something where things can fertilize and grow. So it's thinking about this idea of really openness to nurturing, but in a very restrained and gentle way, I would say. So, by allowing itself to be acted on by the light of the power of the sun, the receptive power of earth gives birth, nurtures, brings to completion the life principle generated when two come to meet each other halfway. So for some of you, this could be a love situation. For some of you, this could be about children and actually, you know, getting pregnant, giving birth, things like this. Others of you, this will be to do with creative projects. You know, you have to take it as it resonates. But it is this idea of having perseverance, of letting yourself be guided. It gives a kind of example here as a good mare, like a horse that allows itself to be guided, that allows itself to have things put upon it. It carries things. It is patient and docile and allows itself to not be used, but to assist. And of course, this is not saying we all must be passive and become doormats, and it's not about that. It's more about this idea of helping through docility, showing love through space. Sometimes absence and space is a great way to show love. It's about these kind of gentle principles. Let's see what else it says. This image specifies the form of receptivity to the higher power that is beyond grudging compliance. It specifies a willing spirit to follow the good. Yeah, so it's about this idea of being willing to do this. Like this horse is willing to have this stuff on its back. It's not like it's not a chore. It's like it wants to help, if that makes sense. Now this might be very specific and significant for some of you, this line. When people are unfaithful, indifferent, or insensitive, we keep detached from wanting, waiting, and expecting. We let the world go without being harsh, vindictive, activated by fear, or collapsed in self-pity. We do not allow ourselves to become rigid through defensive pacts or act in a particular way. Nor do we decide that people are impossible. So the I Ching is always telling us not to kind of fix people in a negative light, not to fix on people as adversaries, to give them the space to be their highest self. And this totally makes sense. You know, anyone who's come to me for reading will know that I'm very into law of attraction. The way we think does affect our reality. And if we fix things as problems in our mind or think of people as problems in our mind, that is what we're going to manifest. So we need to keep our thoughts pure, our heads clear, our hearts open, allow people to come back to us when they correct themselves, but don't rush their development. That is part of their process. And part of our receptivity is to let things go and allow ourselves to be guided by the moment. So not having this kind of pact-like mentality, like I will do this person has done this, and therefore I'll never speak to them again. No, it's being open to the changing nature, being open to moments where doorways open to us and people are receptive to us, and not coming at anything with a kind of pre-described or kind of what's the word I'm looking for, when you kind of make a plan to do something, a kind of manipulative, but not quite manipulative, but when you come at things to have a desired effect, instead of just being open and using your intuition and thinking when there are times when there are these openings when you can advance, and then knowing when there are these times of closings when you must retreat, and thinking about the rolling nature of a wave and advancing with the wave when it's coming in and then retreating. So knowing that it's always this balance between retreat and advance, and never going further than the moment would allow you to go, if that makes sense. Now, what else? Is there anything else? No, that's well, here it says, we proceed on our way, allowing others to depart. Indeed, receiving this hexagram is a challenge to perfect one's receptivity, humility, and patience. So it could be that someone, and I am getting my throat, I have got some incense on, but it's not, I've had it on all night. So my throat chakra is really tight. I feel like some of you are waiting for something from someone, maybe some communication, it's not forthcoming. Allow them to go, knowing that they will most likely come back. Allow space in order to show love. Allow the wave-like nature of communication and receptivity to roll. But let's see how this hexagram transforms now. It goes to 43. And that's breakthrough. So this is good. And it's about being resolute. It's about keeping within the correct limits, but it is about this idea of breakthrough. But there are two breakthroughs mentioned, one which is like a true breakthrough, and another which is a kind of once you have a breakthrough, if you become too dependent on that, it can end up as a kind of breakdown. I'll read from it to make it more clear. So it's hexagram 43. So breakthrough refers to 2 points of change when yin flows into the space left by yang. Again, it is this idea of this wave-like visualization that I was getting. I was getting a kind of clairvoyant image of these waves rolling in and out. It's this idea of balance. It's this idea of the forces in opposition, isn't it? Yin and yang. So one form of breakthrough follows the other. Following the correct path resolutely, we found that obstructions give way or break through. And then if we exceed by becoming hard or proud, it kind of goes the other way. So this is about perhaps you are in a dynamic with someone where you're waiting for something, and then you kind of behave in a way that allows that to happen, and then you go too far. You want too much too soon, or you expect too much, or what you wanted at one point is then no longer enough for you. Sorry, I just noticed my candle's not lit. I must light my candle. So this is this idea of just going with what the moment allows, and not pushing too far, and not expecting too much, but just being open and receptive to what the situation allows. Because I do feel like you're dealing with some kind of stubborn or tricky situation, but within it there's a great deal of joy to be found. There's a great deal of creativity to be found. There is a lot of potential there. So you have to just be very careful. The energies at the moment are so shifting and changing. We're in retrograde. We're about to go into Samhain. We're about to go into Halloween. We're about to go into a full moon in Taurus, the second full moon in a month. So it's a blue moon. So it's extremely intense energy, and everything's shifting and changing at the moment. Communication is messy. You shouldn't be making big plans. You shouldn't be making big life decisions. And you should also expect that there are going to be like tectonic plates rubbing up against each other in terms of communication with people, and it may not quite fit, and things are going to be tricky, but they will resolve. So just be flexible, roll with it. Do watch my Halloween Samhain special collaborative video coming out just before the 31st. It's going to be great. We're going to do some shadow work. We're going to do some release work. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, so your energy is in there. It's a collaborative spell, and all you need is a piece of paper and like a pen, or to comment in the comment section to be part of it. Very exciting, but I'm getting off topic. So, okay. It's this idea of being in the correct attitude, being disengaged emotionally from situations where you want to get engaged. People may say stuff and you want to jump on it, holding yourself back, remembering it's Mercury retrograde, remembering the energies are fluid and changing, ever changing, biting your tongue when you need to bite your tongue, holding yourself back when you need to hold yourself back, and just allowing what is going to come. Here it says, as each emotion approaches, we diffuse its energy by recognizing it and resolutely resisting it. We forego striving, sacrifice grievances, disperse anger and frustration, resist desire, dismantle overconfidence, and sacrifice feelings of rights and expectations. So yes, this is all about this idea of there's being this tense energy, but we can resist it. And when we do resist it, we enable people's higher powers to come forward, and they will start relating to us in a much better way. And when that happens, don't go too far, don't go further than the moment allows you to go, if that makes sense, because then you're kind of abusing that power. The I Ching talks a lot about power and balance and staying correct within the limits, and knowing what is yours and knowing what is someone else's, and not doing more than is yours, not rushing another's development, allowing them the space to develop, and not interfering in things that aren't your own, keeping focused and fixed on your own development, your own self-love, your own highest potential. And through that, we shine as an example outward, and we attract those to us who are in a similar vibration. We attract good things to us, we attract good people to us, which again is law of attraction, really. It's very, very similar. Now, when our situation improves, a new sort of resoluteness needs to be undertaken to guard against intervening in others' affairs to tell them what to think. So yes, when success comes, we need to avoid becoming hard and proud. So I do think we are going to have this shift in energy away from this difficulty to like much more easy, happier times, communication coming in from people because we've given them this space. But then at that point, we really need to guard against sort of like telling people, and this is difficult when you're a spiritual person, because it's sometimes you do want to interfere or intervene and say, hey, this is not in your highest potential. But people need to learn lessons, and they may need to repeat cycles and learn lessons many, many, many times until they are ready to let go of it for themselves. And there's just no point in trying to teach someone. They need to learn it themselves. And it can be difficult if you are a spiritual person not to want to say, hey, what are you doing? But really we need to only concern ourselves with our own development. Everyone is us pushed out anyway. And when we correct ourselves, we can correct our relationships with others. We are connected to others through these cords and through energy anyhow. And so they will sense these shifts within us internally. So that is really our own kind of, our main and only concern should be with being true to ourselves, having integrity within ourselves, and not really worry ourselves with what other people are doing. Of course, we shouldn't just accept whatever people do. If we don't like it, we can distance ourselves, but we shouldn't try to tell others how to be, if that makes sense. Is there anything here we have? It's talking about ideas that become habitual responses. So this can be the way that you talk to yourself. And this is all about manifestation, law of attraction. In my manifestation plans, I do meditations where I'm reprogramming these sorts of subconscious limiting beliefs. So just catch the way that you're thinking about this situation, whatever the situation that I'm talking about is bringing up. Catch how you're talking to yourself about that. What stories are you telling yourself? Are you even sure that's the truth of the situation? Is it just your fears interjecting? Is it just your ego interjecting? Try to step back, try to emotionally disengage, and really notice the difference between your thoughts and your intuition, and your thoughts and the reality of a situation. And here it says a really helpful thing about how to disperse feelings of anger, or this like feelings that come up or thoughts that come up. By choosing to give them up, we allow them to float away. We free them mentally as one would let a bird out of a cage. So that could be a useful visualization, because whenever we talk about letting go, surrender, how though? It's very, very difficult sometimes to let go. How do you let go? Sometimes you need some kind of visual or some kind of ritual to allow yourself to let go. So I like to sometimes visualize myself in the bath. I think and meditate about things, and then I imagine the bath water draining out and all of my kind of anxieties draining out with the bath water, especially if I've had like a healing bath or something. But you can do this thing of a bird floating free, being let out of a cage. There are several kind of visualizations you can do, and you can also do a lot of kind of release ritual work which I do on the channel, which we'll be doing on the next full moon, on the Halloween Samhain special. So there are lots of different things you can do, but really I am seeing that that could be useful for you, especially if you're feeling anxious. I do a lot of work like this on Etsy, so you can always come to me there, or there'll be plenty of videos on this channel that probably relate some of the rituals, so have a look at them. What else? It talks here about killing emotions as envisioning kind of an arrow through the emotion. So just using these visualizations. But yeah, I think this situation for me is about something that's difficult but has a lot of potential, that has gone slightly awry, perhaps because we're in Mercury retrograde, or for whatever reason. It's general, so it will apply for different people in different ways, but just really kind of calming it down, shifting the energies, and manifesting the reality you want. And once you're in a better place, not becoming complacent, not becoming arrogant, not becoming hard, and not trying to tell someone else the best way to live their life, because that is not helpful. So let's see what else comes through. I just want to get like a couple of cards, tarot cards, and then oracle cards. Just final messages for the collective. Sorry, I'm just checking. These are a bit of a mess. Get them all right. How is everyone feeling with this Mercury retrograde? Let me know. It's been quite an intense one, I feel. I think after the 31st, after Samhain and the full moon and Halloween, I think November the energies are going to shift. You know, scorpionic energy is tough, it's intense, and it brings up a lot of fears and a lot of cycles, especially with the retrograde. So let's see, any other messages for the collective? Any other messages for the collective? Oh, lovely. Any other messages for the collective? Oh my goodness, I knew someone was going to have a baby. Any other messages for the collective? Ooh, right. There's some kind of hidden fears or elements, or just something to do with like not 100% integrity going on. This could be hidden doubts, hidden fears, hidden feelings. But things are going to come into balance. We have the Justice card here. This can talk of legal issues. This can talk of marriage. We do also have the Ten of Cups. My happy kind of relationship, long-term relationship card. Could be marriage, could be children, whatever a kind of satisfying, emotional, fulfilling relationship, family life would mean for you. And the Empress. Divine feminine energy, goddess energy, mother energy, fertile energy. There's something fertile, there's something rich, there's something beautiful here, but there's these hidden fears, doubts, hidden agendas. Just it could be that someone has like literally disappeared, because the Seven of Swords, this can be the card of someone who steals and disappears and runs off, ghosting, lack of communication, but it could just be sort of self-deceit. It's going to be different things for different people, but the message here is that there is something real and beautiful to be found in this situation, and it's going to come into balance. You know, think of those waves rolling in and out. Now let me just get a couple more cards, and we'll get an oracle card. The One of Rods, brilliant, new, fiery, creative energy coming in. What else? Hermit in reverse. So yeah, someone wanting to kind of communicate. We've got the Death card on the back. Scorpionic energy, someone wanting to come forward, someone wanting to end delays, someone who wants to come out of this period of isolation. We also have the Page of Wands in the reverse. So someone really wanting quite conflicted energy, because it's someone really wanting to have passionate new journeys, new discoveries, new energy. But there's something out of balance here. But it is shifting. It is shifting. I think there's been no communication, or there's been some element of like something in hiding that needs to come out into the light. If we think about the energies at the moment, the darkness of the Scorpio season, of this time of year, it's out of the darkness comes the light. But at the moment, there's just this feeling of like heaviness, darkness, lack of forward motion, feelings of loneliness, wanting reconciliation, wanting reunion, and I see it coming. But something has to shift. I just keep getting this image of these plates that are rubbing against each other, not quite happily, like rubbing against each other in a way that is painful rather than like smoothly gliding, because I get clairvoyant images, so I'm just getting this like slight tension happening, and it just needs a little gentle massage to smoothly be oiled and moving and fluid and expansive and open. There's something tight and fearful, but I do think some of you perhaps could be having a child as well. But there's just this like idea of beautiful fertility coming out of this like quite tense and constricted energy. So maybe using the frustration of that constriction to then do something more expansive. Also, I think, current world events, I don't know where you are, but in England, we are all starting to feel a bit restricted again. And with the time of the year, it's getting dark. It's just this kind of build up. But there is this fertile energy within that, I feel. And it's going to come into balance. So let's get... Oh, they flipped out. Work Your Light Oracle card. I was thinking this could be some kind of twin flame message. And I did get my twin flame card from the Work Your Light Oracle deck. It's one of them anyway. It's the Pleiades Double Mission, Channeling and Uplifting Humanity. And then the Great Gathering, it's all coming together. Intuitive Hits, Soul Tribe. So I do feel like this is about some kind of soul connection, soul family. If you're on the twin flame journey, possible kind of, if not union, coming to meet after a time of difficulty, and things not quite fitting, and people not quite being open with how they're feeling, and this much more expansive, fertile, creative time where there is this emotional fulfillment, where there's no longer these like roadblocks, people hiding away, people not coming out into the open and communicating. And when that happens, just remember what the I Ching advised about not going too far, just going with what the moment allows and not pushing for further and for more, because it is very temperamental energy at the moment. I can really feel it because I feel energies in every day. I'm like, oh, how am I feeling? Oh, I'm feeling a bit better. No, I'm feeling weird. Like the energy at the moment is all over the place, honestly. So you have to be very gentle, especially with these sorts of soul connections. They're very, very fragile a lot of the time. So there is the Ten of Cups, there is the Empress, there is the Justice, there is the Ace of Wands. There's also the Seven of Swords, there's also the Hermit in reverse, there's also the Page of Rods in reverse. So there's mixed energy. And to get to the Ten of Cups, you just need to be receptive, like the Empress, going back to the first I Ching hexagram. It is this kind of nurturing, receptive energy. Perhaps it is allowing someone who hasn't been in their best integrity and who may have not treated you that well to return without giving them too much of a hard time, because actually it's been hard for them. And they may have learnt their lessons with this Justice card, and it may not be your place to then overstep the line to tell them. Especially if you do want the Ten of Cups, don't win the battle to lose the war. Take that as it resonates, guys. I think it might resonate for some of you. Final message for the collective. Final message. That one came out, but I want to see, is there anything other? A win-win outcome is forecast, full moon in Libra, and that's so interesting because it's the scales and it's like the Justice card. I don't know, can you see? Yeah. So there is something coming into balance. There is a good outcome and it's going to be fair. Libra is all about things being fair. It's about communication. So yeah, definitely do some work on the full moon. Let's see what else. Meditate and contemplate new moon in Pisces. Piscean energy is all about anything is possible. It's dreamy. It's thinking about your dreams that you used to have before you became cynical. It's thinking about soul. It is a card of, this card can talk of soulmates and soul connections. You have these two fish. It's this, again, this kind of twin flamey energy or soulmate energy anyhow. It's remembering your dreams. It's not giving up on your dreams, I feel, is the message here. It is coming, but there needs to be something brought into balance. And then finally we have prosperity lies ahead, new moon in Taurus. So these are very positive cards. New moon, 2 new moons, 1 full moon. Think about release, think about manifestation. They go hand in hand. Full moons, you release. New moons, you manifest. Do the full moon ritual I have. I also have a new moon ritual already on the channel. Get into this cyclical energy of shifting and changing things. Nothing is ever set in stone. Nothing is ever fixed. It's always fluid. It's always a dance we do. Be adaptable. Be like a feather in the wind, being blown around, enjoying the journey, seeing things from a higher perspective. Allow someone to return. If they've wronged you, don't go further than you need to go to point that out to them. Be like the Empress. Be receptive. Be open. Not really for others, but for yourself. It's a beautiful energy to be in. It's a creative time for you. It's a time of emotional fulfillment. Don't kind of cut your nose off to spite your face if someone has wronged you by over punishing them. But also be firm in your boundaries of what you want to accept and remove yourself from a situation if it doesn't serve you. But just think of the wave coming in and out. Ebb and flow. So I hope that makes sense for who it needs to make sense for. Sending you guys all the best. Going to close down these energies now. Thank you so much, everyone, for being part of the community. Please do like, comment, subscribe, share, all of that stuff. And I'll see you guys soon for more stuff on the channel. Lots of love to you.